there's one thing about being lucky and there's one thing about being in the right place at the right time, but I never feel like those things happen unless you really work for it. You have to go out there and just fight for yourself, and that the only person that's going to help you is you. No matter what you decide to put your mind to, you should always work really hard for it, always believe in yourself, because one thing that I know is I always had to believe in myself first before anybody else.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 to 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 to 9. This one's for my top 10.
Need motivation?
Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you too. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. So get ready to work hard, fight for yourself, and be persistent with Dua Lipa and my take on her top 10 rules of success to give you the confidence, motivation, and belief that you need. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule #1, work hard.
I guess I get a lot of like my work ethic from my parents, because throughout my whole life I've watched them be put in so many different situations, and I've just seen them just work so hard and work multiple jobs and go to university in the evening and try and better themselves, and at the same time raise a family and try and make me feel like I wasn't missing out on anything else that all the other kids had in school. I've gladly taken on for them that I guess I work so tirelessly, and that, you know, I follow the things that I'm so passionate about, because it was like seeing my parents and their passion and like what they love to do. And my dad would say, like, you have to work really, really hard to get a little bit of luck. And I stand by those words every day. Like, I really do believe that. I feel like, you know, there's one thing about being lucky and there's one thing about being in the right place at the right time, but I never feel like those things happen unless you really work for it.
Rule #2, fight for yourself.
Everything that I write for the album is very autobiographical. It's just, I mean, things have happened to me, things that have happened to my friends, things that have just surrounded me and have kind of lingered in my mind for the longest. And Room for Two is one of the songs that I wrote. It was a lot about kind of trying to do something in the music industry and trying to find help from other people, and only kind of realizing that you have to go out there and just fight for yourself, and that the only person that's going to help you is you. And that's what Room for Two is about. It's kind of seeking help from someone and expecting that they might help you. Yeah. And just, I don't know, kind of realizing that you have to do it all on your own.
Rule #3, be persistent.
Do you have any advice for those out here pursuing music? Because let's be real, it's a long road. You know, nobody makes it overnight. There's a lot that goes into it.
And I think the most important piece of advice is work really hard, believe in your dream and your art, be persistent, and don't take no for an answer.
Did anybody ever tell you no?
Yeah, there have definitely been a lot of times when some people have been like, oh, you know, you're not the right thing for us, or, you know, we don't think that this song is the one. And I really had to kind of persist and push through and be like, this is what I want to be my next single, and this is what I want to be the first song that people hear from me. And I think a lot of that, I've just kind of, it helped me become more and more confident, standing my ground.
Rule #4, learn from criticism.
Now that the fan base is growing and a lot more people are finding out, like I said at the beginning, you're opening up yourself to so many different opinions. And I think you do, in certain ways, have to have quite tough skin to deal with a lot of people kind of saying different things about, you know, your songs or your performance or your videos or whatever it may be. But I've kind of taken criticism, good or bad, and I've turned it into something that I can always learn from, and something that makes me stronger, and something that hopefully the next time I do something, it will, I don't know, I'll grow. And everything has happened so fast that I've done a lot of my learning on the job.
Also, if you want to have more self-love, check out my 254 series. It's free. The link to join is in the description below.
I came from nothing and I created this world and I made it myself with my own strength.
And when I was 11, I had a casting director tell me that I wasn't strong enough to carry my own show.
I don't know how I knew I had it in me, but I knew that it was what I was supposed to do.
Rule number 5, be a good role model.
When I think of it, and what I would like to say to like my younger audience is that no matter what you decide to put your mind to, you should always work really hard for it. Always believe in yourself, because one thing that I know is I always had to believe in myself first before anybody else. And that was the one thing that I felt really carried me and helped me build my confidence and really helped me learn who I am as an artist and as a person. And I feel like, you know, so many people go, oh, you're such a role model for young women. And at the same time, as much as I have, you know, young fans, I also have young girls that are also the same age as I am. And being a role model, for me, I will do, you know, whatever is in my ability to be able to kind of do what's right. But at the same time, I'm also learning and I'm not perfect. And I think that's also something really important for them to remember, that we're allowed to make mistakes and be ourselves and be young, but at the same time try and set a good example or as well as you can. And I try to do that for my younger siblings. And so I kind of take that kind of mentality into what I do.
Rule number 6, keep a diary.
Do you keep a diary and then kind of go back to that? Like, where do you pull from?
Yeah.
Do you give that to other songwriters? Like, here's my heart and my innermost
I don't
everything.
show them my notes, but
Okay.
I tell them.
Got you.
Just because, so it still is a form of diary.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
whenever something significant happens, I write it down. I make sure that, you know, I write down all the memories, and when I go into the studio, if I still feel exactly the same way as I did when I first wrote it, then I'm gonna pursue it and put it into a song.
Rule number 7, be honest.
I think when you're in the public eye, you kind of open yourself up to a lot of opinions. And I'm really, really grateful, because for my whole career, really, I've had so much support from the fans. And I've been so lucky that from day one, when I kind of released Hotter Than Hell, which was, I feel like, in a way, my breakout song to a lot of people online, that they came up to me and were like, oh, I was able to relate to this song, and this song made me feel empowered. And it was the first song that I kind of wrote that was really close to my heart, that was this kind of false sense of confidence, because it came from a place where I was quite heartbroken. It was about someone who didn't treat me very well. And I wrote that song kind of flipping the script and making it seem as if this person wanted me so badly, although that wasn't the case at all. And people were like, oh, this song made me feel empowered. And I realized that by just being, you know, myself and being honest and kind of just writing songs that made me feel good, I was also, you know, not just doing something for myself, but also for other people. And they allowed me to not be afraid of my own words and not be afraid of my own thoughts. And that opened me up in a whole new way, because I feel like I was going to release my album in 2016, then I moved it to 2017, and I delayed it a few times because I just wanted to kind of add songs that I felt showed who I am as a person, but as well as an artist.
Rule number 8, do what works for you.
What words of caution would you offer then to people who are on social media and believing everything and being affected by what they're reading?
I think it's really important to kind of do what works for you. Personally, I like to do it all in bite sizes. You know, go in, show my fans that, you know, how much they mean to me and how important they are, or, you know, update my family and show what I'm up to, or post it for my friends so they know, or even for myself. Like, everything I do is really like, I like this, so I'm going to post it. But I think if you spend too much time kind of diving in, looking for comments, I think we as humans, we're quite self-destructive, so we kind of go in looking for comments that that don't necessarily make us happy. And so it's kind of just doing it in bite sizes, doing it for the right reasons, you know, posting something because you love it, but don't spend too much time or don't allow the opinions of others to dictate how you feel about yourself, which I think is the downfall. And what we're doing is the amount of likes is really giving us the validation of who we are or how we feel about ourselves. And it's learning to take a step back from that and do it because you want to do it regardless of, you know, people's reaction. It's like, this is how I feel. I like how I look today. Today I feel good about myself and I'm going to post about it.
Rule number 9, do things your way.
I know it's really rough though when you're doing those rehearsals for choreography. Like, was there anything like, was she just like, stop doing that? Or just to do everything like 20 times? Or
No, I think the thing with Toogie is if there's something that I can't do, but I can do it in my own way, she much prefers that because it comes more naturally to me. And you kind of want something that works better for you rather than forcing something that you just can't do. Like I said, I'm not a dancer, so it's much easier for me to pick up a song and learn it rather than a dance routine. And so being able to alter things that work for me is how I want to try and see things for the rest of my life. Not just in dance, but being able to make things work in the best way possible for me to be able to do it the best I can.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is have fun.
Not to be dramatic, but where the is Miss Dua Lipa? I'm back, and I won't be leaving anytime soon. Why is Dua Lipa such a queen? I'm not. You are. How is Dua Lipa's whole family so stinking beautiful? That's so sweet and so kind to say. And that is me answering the internet. That's how I feel. That was like a perfect metaphor for like those tweets directly just like.
Now I have a really special bonus clip on how to do what you believe in that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Let's go from just watching a video to taking action. Here we go. Question number 1. How can you be a better role model to someone this week? Number 2, where do you need to fight for yourself? And number 3, what recent criticism can you learn from?
It feels like, out in the open, we're very much pro-women, supporting each other, looking after each other, sisterhood, all this stuff. And then there's kind of a darker side when you go on social media, and it feels like the same people that are preaching for all this equality and looking after each other, and it doesn't feel so equal online. It always feels like because people can hide behind a computer screen, they can also say whatever they want. And I think that's one of the points that I want to keep making, is that if you say something, you should believe it. And if you do feel like we should be looking after each other, then do it. And we shouldn't be comparing each other. And it feels like for men, getting older in an industry is celebrated, whereas for women, we're instantly being put down, or surely she can't be still doing pop music because she's getting older, or, whatever I guess the dialogue is, but it's quite upsetting, because why can't we? As a female artist, or in general for all female artists, when we start something in our careers, we want to have longevity, and we don't want the reason of us aging to be the reason we stop working or people stop being interested in us. We still create very interesting things. We still have a lot to say. We still have a lot to bring to the table. But why is it so different for us? And I think it's a lot to do with the conversations that are still being made on social media and being made online, and those aren't allowing us to grow and aren't allowing us to be ourselves. Whereas we portray that very much so when we're speaking, in front of a camera. It's as if like me coming out, now and being like, I support women and I'm doing this, but then I go on social media and I'm talking about or comparing two women against each other, or why one isn't better than the other, or, that kind of thing. It's very hypocritical. And so it's trying to kind of get away from that.
If you want to see the top 10 I did on Oprah Winfrey, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
I can't quit this job because this is what everybody else wants to do. And if I quit this job, what am I going to do?
What we all want